Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with some deception detection. This time it comes from a video that has made the rounds on X and Facebook. That video claims the CDC admits under oath fluoride interferes with the functions of the brain and body, which has led X accounts such as IlluminatiBot to suggest this is evidence of the CDC admitting fluoride is poison. This is a bold claim and would be an enormous deal if these claims were accurate. So I decided, against my better judgment, to watch the video. The first thing I noticed was there wasn't an obvious source of this testimony. We do see text appear on screen that presumably would tell us the source and the name of the person speaking, but it's blurry. How do I know this isn't a staged interview with an actor? Obscuring this information may be intentional to further a deception. The second thing I noticed was that the context of the question wasn't included, and the answer to the question was cut off.
CDC agrees with NRC that it is apparent that fluorides have the ability to interfere with the functions of the brain and the body by direct and indirect means.
Yes, CDC in connection with the Intergovernmental Work Group.
It's correct to say.
For all we know, the question could have been, "Are you aware that people have made these claims?" And the answer could have been, "Yes, the CDC is aware, but the claims are nonsense." This could be an indicator of deception. Wanting to find the source, I googled CDC testimony fluoride, which led me to this video on Facebook. In that video, the claim was that the CDC oral health director admits under oath that CDC has no safety data on fluoride. That's not the same claim and is another potential indicator that this is deceptive. This Facebook video also has a date on the testimony, showing it occurred in 2018. Now, the tweet didn't say that this was exactly breaking news, but one could presume that we would be aware of this situation if the CDC admitted it is poisoning us. Fluoride mouthwash, for example, would probably be pulled off the shelves. Except, it hasn't been. And the fact that the date was omitted in the tweet seems to maybe suggest that it was intended to imply that this was recent. Say it with me, that's a possible sign of deception. Very good. Well done. Good for you. If we actually look into what this testimony was about, we discover the CDC was stating they didn't have data on the tolerable upper fluoride intake for neurotoxic effects on children. I'd hazard a guess that this is because feeding fluoride to children to determine what dose becomes harmful is illegal? Of course the CDC wouldn't have those studies. They probably also don't have a study on how many times you can slap a child in the face per day before they decide to bring your bang bang stick to show and tell. But should I complain that the government isn't conducting harmful experimentation on children in order to reduce gun violence? I personally don't think it would be appropriate in that context. I think perhaps there are other ways to appropriately address that issue. Let's look at the rest of IlluminatiBot's tweet. Fluoride is a neurotoxin that has many negative health effects, yet the government insists on dumping the waste product of fertilizer into your drinking water. Is fluoride a neurotoxin? Well, in extremely high amounts, it can act as one, but that would be unusual. If we're going to make a fuss about things having negative effects in high doses, what about salt? This is between 4 and 5 tablespoons of salt. This is a lethal dose. And yet I would be willing to bet that every single person complaining about fluoride toxicity has more salt than this in their homes. Now that doesn't mean we shouldn't study the effects of fluoride in high doses. In fact, there are studies that have reviewed possible correlation between naturally high fluoride levels in water and developmental issues in children in Mexico and China. Emphasis on naturally high levels and Mexico and China. Meaning this isn't fluoride being added to water by the government, and if it were, it wouldn't be the American government. We might recognize America as the place that the CDC is, and China and Mexico as the place that the CDC isn't. Is fluoride a waste product of fertilizer? No. It is generally either added to water as fluorosilicic acid, which is a byproduct of a method of creating phosphate fertilizers and not the fertilizer itself, or sodium fluoride, which can be made synthetically by mixing hydrofluoric acid with either sodium carbonate or sodium hydroxide. This may sound scary, but check this out.
Chimeric acid, chlorogenic acid, gallic acid.
Scared? Why? These are just parts of the chemical makeup of an apple. But hold on a second. We know hydrofluoric acid is super dangerous. Well, okay. But check this out. Sometimes, when you combine two dangerous things, they form something different. Let's return to this salt. This is sodium chloride. Sodium combusts when it comes in contact with water, and chlorine combusts when it comes in contact with brake fluid. And yet, when you mix them together, it tastes great on potatoes. Similarly, hydrofluoric acid is being mixed with something else to make sodium fluoride. The key to all of this is the quantity. A high enough amount of any physical thing will kill you, and I encourage you to prove me wrong in the comments. I believe this tweet lacks enough context that it should be considered deceptive. But what do you think? What strange claims have you found around the internet? Let me know in the comments section. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, subscribe for more nonsense, and until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, be good, stay safe.